Hello students, how are you all? I hope all of you are very fine and you are going through the concepts which we have discussed in the last lecture. In the last lecture we have completed with chapter number 4, structure of the atom, and today we will start with chapter number 14, natural resources. So let's begin with the chapter. Let us see what are the important concepts in the chapter. First of all, we are going to discuss about the different resources on the earth and their importance. So we are going to discuss about air, water and soil. Air is called as the breath of life. Water is called as a wonder liquid. We cannot imagine our life without air and water, isn't it? After that, we are going to discuss about soil. Then in this chapter we are going to discuss about different biogeochemical cycles. So which biogeochemical cycles we are going to see? The first one is water cycle, then nitrogen cycle, after that carbon cycle, the next one is oxygen cycle. Then we are going to discuss about the ozone layer, the importance of this layer, the threat to this ozone layer, and at last the effects of ozone layer depletion. Okay, so we will start. So let us start. Earth. Earth is called as the living planet. Do you know why it is called as living planet? Because life is possible only on Earth. There are 8 planets, but we find life only on planet Earth and not on the other planets. So Earth is called as the living planet. The Earth is the only planet on which the life exists. Life on the Earth depends upon many factors such as air, water, food, soil and the energy obtained from the sun. So all these things are available on the Earth. There is an atmosphere on the Earth. There is availability of water. We get food in different forms. There is a presence of soil and we get solar energy, that is energy from sun. So because of these factors, life is possible on the Earth. Earth consists of many layers. So let us have a look at the different layers of the Earth. So what are the layers of the Earth? The first one is lithosphere, then hydrosphere, third one is atmosphere and then biosphere. So let us discuss one by one. Lithosphere. The outer crust of our planet Earth, which we call as land, is called as lithosphere. So what is lithosphere? It is the outer crust of Earth, which we call as land. So lithosphere means land. The second one is hydrosphere. So the Earth's surface is covered with 75% of water. So there is 75% of water available on Earth. This water is found to be present in seas, oceans, rivers, lakes, streams, ponds, underground water, etc. That means we find water in different forms. It is present in solid state as snow, in liquid state as water, as well as it is in the gaseous state as water vapor. So where this water is present? It is present in the seas, oceans, rivers, lakes and so on. So because of this presence of 75% of water, the Earth from the space looks in blue color. That's why Earth is known as blue planet, because of the presence of plenty of water. So this is the second layer of the Earth. The third layer is atmosphere. The multi-layered gaseous envelope of air that covers the whole Earth like a blanket is called as atmosphere. So what is atmosphere? It is a gaseous envelope. It consists of multi-layered gaseous envelope of air, and atmosphere covers the whole earth like a blanket. So, earth has a blanket of atmosphere, and the fourth layer is biosphere. So, here in this the word bio stands for biotic component, means the living organisms. So, biosphere means it is the life supporting zone of the earth, where atmosphere, the hydrosphere and the lithosphere interact and makes life possible. So, in the biosphere we can see the interaction of atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere, and because of this interaction life is possible on the earth. So, these are the four layers of the earth. Lithosphere means land, hydrosphere means water, atmosphere means the mixture of gases, that is envelope of air, and biosphere means life supporting zone. Now, let us see more about this biosphere. In biosphere we find two types of components. They are biotic and abiotic. So, let us see what are biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components. Living things constitute the biotic components of the biosphere. So, what are biotic components? These are having living things, means living organisms are called as biotic components. Examples: plants, animals, insects, etc. All these are living. So, these are examples of biotic components. The second component of biosphere is abiotic components. So, what are abiotic components? These are non-living things. So, non-living things constitute the abiotic components of the biosphere. Now, some examples of abiotic components are air, water and soil. So, these are the two important components of biosphere. Biotic means living and abiotic means non-living. Now, let us discuss more about air. Why air is called as the breath of life. You all know that for breathing we require oxygen, and from where we get oxygen? Obviously from air. So, without inhaling oxygen we cannot survive. That is why as oxygen is present in air, air is called as the breath of life. So, let us discuss about this air. Air, the breath of life. Air is a mixture of many gases. You all know that air has nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, then argon and many other gases. So, air is a mixture of many gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and other gases like argon, helium, neon, ozone, ammonia, etc. Their percentages in the air are: nitrogen is present in 78%, means 78% of the air is of nitrogen. Then the second largest component is oxygen. The percentage of oxygen is 20.95%, roughly we call it as 21%. Then carbon dioxide is present in 0.031%, means its amount is very less, its percentage is very less as compared to other gases. Argon is an inert gas, its percentage in the air is 0.93%, and the other gases which includes helium, neon, ozone, ammonia, etc., they all constitute 0.04%. So, this is the percentage of different gases in the air. Due to the presence of these gases, air is called as a mixture of gas. Now, let us see carbon dioxide, how it is released by living cells. As I have told that the amount of carbon dioxide in air is just 0.031%. So, let us see release of CO2 by cells. All kinds of cells, whether eukaryotic or prokaryotic, need oxygen to break down glucose molecules to get energy for their activities by the process of respiration. So, all the kinds of cells undergo respiration, and during this process of respiration carbon dioxide gas gets released. So, what they do exactly in the process of respiration? The cells need oxygen to break down glucose molecules. So, breaking of glucose molecules takes place during respiration, and during this time a lot of energy is obtained, and along with a lot of energy carbon dioxide gets released in the atmosphere. So, this phenomenon releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So, all the cells, whether they are eukaryotic or prokaryotic, they need oxygen for undergoing respiration, and during this process of respiration they release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, let us see the other sources of carbon dioxide in the air. The first is combustion of the fuels by humans. So, when fuel is burnt, carbon particles get released and they react with oxygen to form carbon dioxide gas. So, because of this combustion of the fuels, carbon dioxide gets released in the air. Similarly, during forest fires. So, during forest fires also a lot of CO2 gas, that is carbon dioxide gas, gets released in the air. The next is, as these sources liberate high amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, but still the percentage of carbon dioxide in the air is a fraction of a percent. What is the total percentage of CO2? It is just 0.031%. Why it is so? Because carbon dioxide is fixed in different ways. So, let us see how carbon dioxide get fixed, means gets utilized in different ways. CO2 fixation. First, it is done by green plants. As you know that green plants are called as autotrophs. So, they synthesize their food by the process of photosynthesis. For that they require carbon dioxide. So, green plants convert carbon dioxide into glucose in the presence of sunlight by the process of photosynthesis. So, during this process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide gets utilized by the green plants. Now, many marine animals. What are marine animals? Those who live in sea. So, many marine animals use carbonates which are present in dissolved state in sea water to make their shells. So, how carbonates are formed? By using carbon dioxide. Carbonates are formed and they are present in the sea water in their dissolved state, and marine animals use those carbonates for making their shells. So, because of this carbon dioxide get fixed, and that is why its amount, its percentage in the air remains less. It is just a fraction of a percent, that is it is just 0.031%. Now, as I have told that Earth is called as a living planet, means life is possible on only Earth. Let us see why there is no life on Venus and Mars. So, on planets such as Venus and Mars, no life is known to exist. Why? Because the major component of the atmosphere there is carbon dioxide. So, in the atmosphere of the Earth, the major component is nitrogen and then oxygen, and very less carbon dioxide is present. But if you see these planets, Venus and Mars, they have carbon dioxide as the major component of the atmosphere. So, how much is there? How much percentage of carbon dioxide is there on these planets? Carbon dioxide constitutes about 95 to 97% of the atmosphere on these two planets. So, because of presence of such a high percentage of carbon dioxide, life is not possible on Venus and Mars. Now let us discuss about atmosphere. Atmosphere plays a very important role in our lives. So let us explore about atmosphere. What is atmosphere? It is the layer of gaseous envelope. The layer of gaseous envelope surrounding the earth is called atmosphere. So the earth is surrounded by a layer of gaseous envelope called as atmosphere. It has many significant roles to play, such as protection from ultraviolet rays and helping in mode of communication. So these are possible only because of the presence of atmosphere. So earth gets protected from harmful ultraviolet rays of sun due to the presence of atmosphere. Similarly, the different modes of the communication is possible on the earth because of presence of atmosphere. So let us see the role of atmosphere in climate control. How atmosphere plays a very important role in controlling climate on the earth. So the role of the atmosphere in climate control. The atmosphere covers the earth like a protective blanket. So earth gets protection due to the presence of atmosphere. So what the atmosphere does? It covers the earth like a protective blanket. The air is a bad conductor of heat. So the atmosphere prevents the sudden increase in temperature during the daylight hours. So during the daylight hours there is presence of too much hot sun, means we get rays of sun, solar radiations, but still the heat of the earth remains constant almost. The temperature doesn't increase to an extreme level because of the presence of air, as air is a bad conductor of heat. Similarly, during night it slows down the escape of heat into the outer space. So the other important function of atmosphere is during the night it slows down the escape of heat into the outer space. Otherwise, what would have been happened? All the heat would have been escaped in the outer space and the earth would have been become very cold. But this doesn't happen because atmosphere slows down the escape of heat into the outer space during night. Thus, it keeps the average temperature of the earth fairly steady during the day and even during the course of whole year. So, during the course of whole year as well as during the day, the temperature is maintained at an average rate so that the life forms can survive. The atmosphere therefore ensures that right amount of heat is received by earth, which controls and allows the living organisms to survive. So what is the main function of atmosphere? It ensures that right amount of heat is received by earth. Okay, if earth receives very less heat, then the earth will be a very cold planet, and if earth receives too much of heat, then the earth becomes very hot. But the right amount of heat is received by earth because of atmosphere, and it helps in controlling and allowing the living organisms to survive. So atmosphere plays a very important role in the climate control. Do you know moon has no atmosphere? and its temperature ranges from minus 190 degrees Celsius to plus 110 degrees Celsius. Just now we have discussed about the role of atmosphere on the earth, but there is no atmosphere on the moon. As there is no atmosphere on the moon, there is no optimum, no proper or no average temperature on that planet. So, on that satellite, on the moon, the temperature becomes too high during the daytime, that is 110 degrees Celsius, and whereas during the night the moon gets cooled up to minus 190 degrees Celsius. In this both the temperature ranges, life is not possible. No living organisms can survive at the temperature of minus 190 degrees Celsius or plus 110 degrees Celsius. That is why no life on the moon, as there is no atmosphere. Now let us see what are winds. Winds are nothing but the movement of air. So winds are the result of changes that take place in our atmosphere due to heating of air and formation of water vapors. So when the air gets heated and water vapors are formed, winds are also formed. So what are winds? These are the result of changes that take place in our atmosphere. How the changes in our atmosphere take place? Because of heating of air and formation of water vapors. Winds occur due to different events in the atmosphere. So let us discuss these events. When solar radiations fall on the earth, majority of these radiations are reflected back. So this reflected radiations are called as re-radiations. So majority of the radiations are reflected back, means they get re-radiated by land and water bodies, and some of them are absorbed. So land and water bodies absorb some of the radiations, solar radiations, and whereas most of the radiations get reflected back. These reflected solar radiations heat the atmosphere from below. So due to this, convection currents are set up in the air. You know about convection currents. So because of reflected solar radiations, atmosphere get heated from below, and due to that convection currents are set up in the air. Since land gets heated faster than water, the air over land would also be heated faster than the air over water bodies. So the air over the land gets heated at a faster rate as compared to the air over the water bodies. So what happens because of this? The air over the land would also be heated faster than the air over the water bodies. Now in coastal regions, during the day, the air above the land gets heated faster and starts rising. So what happens in the coastal regions? The air above the land gets heated faster and it starts rising in the upward direction, as hot air is lighter in weight as compared to cold air. So when the air gets heated, it becomes light in weight, so it starts rising in the upward direction. As this air rises, a region of low pressure is created and air over the sea moves to this area of low pressure. So what happens when the air gets raised upward? Then a region of low pressure is created and the air over the sea moves to this area of low pressure. The movement of air from one region to the other create winds. So as here during the daytime, the winds flow from sea to land, and this is due to the movement of air from the sea to land. Direction of the wind would be from sea to the land during the day. So do you know what is this called as? It is called as sea breeze. What is sea breeze? It is the movement of wind from sea to land. Now, exactly the reverse situation arises at night. So, what happens at night? Both the land and sea starts getting cool, as during the night there is no availability of solar energy. As a result of that, land as well as sea both starts getting cooled. Since water cools down slowly than land, the air above the water would be warmer than the air above the land. So, this cooling process is slow at the sea level, means above the sea the water cools down very slowly, and because of this the air above the water would be warmer than the air above the land. Now, the air above the sea starts rising. We have seen that during the daytime the air above the land starts rising, but during the daytime the air above the sea starts rising, and what happens there? It creates a low pressure area, and because of this creating a low pressure area, the air from above the land moves towards the sea. So, here the direction of wind would be from lands to sea during the night. This is known as land breeze. So, sea breeze takes during the daytime and land breeze takes during the night time. Now, let us see the other factors which influence the winds. The other factors that influence the winds are rotation of earth and the presence of mountain ranges in the path of winds. So, when winds blow, if they get mountain ranges in their path, they change their directions. Similarly, because of rotation of the earth also, the winds get influenced. Now, various phenomena occurring in the atmosphere such as cyclones, thunderstorm, etc. are also due to the movements caused by uneven heating of atmosphere in different regions. So, uneven heating of atmosphere in different regions takes place because of some phenomena like cyclones and thunderstorms. So, these are some of the factors which influence the winds: rotation of earth, then presence of mountain ranges, then different phenomena occurring in the atmosphere like cyclones and thunderstorm. So, these all factors influence the winds. Now, after finishing about the winds, let us see the rain. All of you like rain, isn't it? Now, rainy season has already started. All of you must have enjoyed in getting showers in the rain, but at the same time you have to take care of your health. So, let us see what is a rain. What is a rain? It is nothing but coming down of raindrops. So, in our country rain occurs during rainy season, that is from July to September month. So, already here the rainy season has started. So, what is rain? How it occurs? What are its events due to which the rain occurs? We will discuss all these things in the next class. So, what we have discussed today? We have discussed about natural resources. There are different type of the natural resources, that is biotic and abiotic resources. Then we have discussed about the different concepts of the chapter. We have seen about the different layers of the earth. Then we have discussed about the role of atmosphere and its role in the climate control. Then we have discussed about winds. So, you are going to get more information regarding air, regarding winds, regarding sea breeze and land breeze. So, in the next In the next class we will discuss about rain. Thank you and take care of yourself.